What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Hypercolors, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Transbots Motormaster with the G2 Deco. This is all known to me from Joel W. I told you guys he sent me a box full of repaints and stuff. This is the third of fourth, so we're working our way through it as we wait for new releases and such. Better to have something to look at than nothing is how I see it, and I do appreciate the effort it took for him to get it to me. And I hope you appreciate the effort it took for me to get it to you. Just be a circle of appreciation. That's what I like to call it. A gratification circle, if you will. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy, but in order to do so, we need to talk about accessories. So he comes with this gun, which is kind of iconic in nature. Nice sculpt and completely painted in this metallic purple that you'll only see more of and is absolutely stunning. And he can hold it just fine with a peg that goes into the palm and you can wrap the fingers around. The gun can be stored on the side here, on that peg, or on the back rather. He also comes with this equally iconic sword, sculpted nicely, completely painted silver. And once again, he can hold that in his palm of his hand by tabbing into the palm. Hopefully you don't untab it when you go to wrap the fingers around it, and then you wrap the fingers around it. The sword also pegs into the back on one of these pegs, but the tolerance is a little off, and I'm guessing that's largely to do with the coat of paint that this has on it that's unaccounted for. That's the only thing I can come up with. So obviously, we've looked at this fella before. I'll get in a little tight on the head sculpt for Dennis there. Looks pretty good. Paint is magnificent. All that metallic paint looks great. It looks great throughout, to be fair. The head is on a hinge swivel. You get up to there, and then the whole box moves, so to speak, and you get down. Well enough. Everything is painted, so no issues there. Chest, kind of the same deal. Fully painted. We have a waist swivel that's ratcheted. We have an ab crunch that still looks sketchy and is stressed. So Joel, I'm gonna do my best, buddy, but that is a stress mark right in there. Stress marks around your hips. Stress marks around your lips. If you've got a couple stretch marks on your... let's not get dirty. All right, shoulders. Ratcheted universals. Get you out to 90 degrees. 360 around. And a butterfly joint, so no issues there. Once again, fully painted. On the side, we have a little bit of red deco. That works nicely. We have a bicep swivel. Where is the elbow on this? There it is. And a single hinged elbow that gets you more than 90 degrees, along with a ton of paint there on the forearm. And then the hands are that aqua green kind of color, or turquoise kind of color, and actually work nicely. With the wrist swivel, the thumb is on a ball peg that comes out to a secondary and tertiary hinge. The fingers are on a base pen knuckle that also swivels from side to side, as well as a secondary and tertiary hinge on all the fingers, so fully articulated and completely painted. And looks quite nice, to be fair. Like, I'm not a fan of like the kind of Technicolor deco of these G2 guys, but I can objectively say that it is applied well and makes for an interesting look in spite of how I feel about it. All right, hip skirts, they get up and out of the way to reveal ratcheted universals. Out to the side for the full Van Damme, forward and back for the full Monty. Thigh swivel that's ungodly tight, but built around the universal. Knee hinge, 90 degrees, a little bit more than 90 degrees to be fair. Once again, we have die-cast hips painted with the kind of glossy black. I do like the breakup between the glossy black and the metallic colors. It adds for an interesting look, gives a layer of texture, really. You know, it helps separate it. Down below, once again, we have this red paint on here that looks sharp. All the metallic paint looks great. Ankles, we get a tilt down, slightly. A tilt up, and a rocker. And there he is from the back. Let's look at him with the toy deco. So there he is next to the G1 deco. And it is kind of impressive that they were able to get so much use out of this mold. They're the only ones that kind of went the limit with it. And I think it's overall pretty clever use of it. I mean, it got me for 2. I think it got Joel for 2. So pretty smart marketing and clever use of the mold, honestly. And there it is in vehicle mode, and I think it does the job. You could probably get these panel's a little bit tighter if you mess with it a bit more, but I don't want to cause any damage to the paint. It doesn't belong to me, and I think you get the general idea. We didn't show the transformation, obviously, because we've shown this mold transformation both ways, both from vehicle to robot and robot to vehicle on the channel, so just look at the previous Gravestone releases. But it rolls like a champ. Rubber tires, silver comes through. I love the turquoise fuel tanks. I think that comes through nicely. The red up here finishes nicely, both on the roof window and then on the arms. How that all fills out is thoughtful and you know, taken into account, which is good. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I think it does a pretty good job of what it's trying to do. I will show it to you for one with the kind of G1 counterpart. So pretty cool. You can extend these, like I say. And of course, we'll show them both with Tiger Tracks. I do like I think that the kind of translucent windows works well on this deco with that like turquoise bit kind of shining through. It may even be silver, but because of the tint, it kind of matches the fuel. I think it all kind of works aesthetically. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives, and they're pretty much consistent across the molds, but this one is definitely present. It's that stress mark on the hip hinge, or waist hinge rather, that allows for the ab crunch. Just use extreme caution. It's also part of the transformation, so you kind of have to utilize it. Just use extreme caution when you do, because it is stressing and it does want to give. On top of that, there are some tolerance issues throughout. Some joints are a little too tight, some joints are a little too loose, but being as though it's the third use of the mold, I think it's forgivable, although they have kind of been there the whole time. At the very least, I don't think it's getting any worse, if not better. There's a couple weird things, like the sword not quite pegging into the backpack nicely. Not the biggest deal in the world, but something worth mentioning. And honestly, that's about all I have. The biggest issue is, without a doubt, the same issue that has plagued this figure from day one, which is that ab crunch hinge and the lack of kind of stability and sturdiness there. So just use caution. Positives wise, in the same breath, most things remain the same. Transformation is kind of straightforward and relatively fun and enjoyable. A couple weird things with kind of getting it all finished up at the end, but for the most part, a pleasant experience. Articulation works across the board. There's actually nothing I would ask for. I think everything gets you the right amount of range that you would need to make this figure look dynamic on a shelf, or noble on a shelf, or kind of stoic, whatever the case may be. I think the clear and present winner of this mold has to do with its deco and how beautifully it is applied. It really feels like they spared no expense in kind of getting this thing to look the way that you would want it to if you were a G2 fan, and I think they were pretty successful. I think the colors really pop and they are expressed quite nicely. So I would say, if you like the deco, the good news is the build and everything is pretty good, minus that ab crunch. Materials, etc., all feel nice. There is a softer plastic used on some pieces, including the ab crunch. For the most part, overall, it's a pretty well built, well good feeling thing. I feel like I didn't say that nicely, but I feel like you get the point, and I can recommend it if you like the deco. Just use caution, once again, with that ab crunch. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.